This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this? Dun 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 dun. No.
Y'all, just
Stop.
This is a sham. That was a good joke that I just got right before we started on air. Welcome to DBL. It's Friday, October 1st. Can you believe it? I'm Jeff here with my friends, Erica and Tori. We put up a couple Halloween decorations.
I was like, Christmas.
Christmas is only a month away. We do it right after Halloween.
Did you do skeletons? What'd you put up?
We did, you know that witch that like looks like she's in the ground but just her arms and legs are out?
Yeah.
We did a skeleton instead.
Nice.
We switched it up. They're like, look how modern these guys are.
Look at you. Picasso.
All right, let's get to some important stories. More tea is being spilled from Katie Couric's tell-all memoir. And the biggest headline, of course, is about former co-host Matt Lauer. First up, she sent Matt sympathetic texts after he was fired because it felt heartless to abandon him. She admits she heard whispers of rumors about Matt and describes how Matt's wife once called the control room asking for the phone number of a woman she thought Matt was sleeping with. But perhaps the most cringe-worthy note, Katie says one producer was told by Matt to come to his office wearing a skirt that came off easily. Katie says that she thought that was gross and that Matt was cheating on his wife, obviously, but said the general rule at the time was it's none of your business and it was a don't ask, don't tell culture. Okay, I kind of tripped over the specifics there that are important. The bottom line, it was gross. It was all gross. She's coming out with all the information. My question to you guys is why?
Why now, Erica?
I believe it's because of the climate that we're in right now. We are in the morning show climate. When I say the morning show climate, as I mentioned or alluded to yesterday, not so alluding in my conspiracy theory, that now is the time to have these conversations. I do believe that people who lived these experiences are absolutely lending their voice to the storyline of the Apple Morning Show.
It is cool. We do know the morning show is literally based off of Matt Lauer, so it's actually a really good Cobb conspiracy theory, and we do need music for when she says that. This rubs me wrong a little bit, and it's only because I wish she had just said it earlier. Someone of her power would have lent credibility. Someone of her power would have meant something. Someone of her power in 2012 went on Andy Cohen, Watch What Happens Live, and said, Matt's worst habit is that he always pinched my butt over and over again. But she's right, the climate wasn't there, no one was receptive to it. But do I wish she had done this a lot earlier? Yeah, I do. And I understand people tell their stories when they feel is right, and I don't want to push anyone. But there's some interns and people who had abusive power happen to them that probably wish she had said something to HR if she knew all this.
I completely agree. I don't know, the timing seems off to me, and I don't know the motive either behind it. But there are more details. Another subject creating a firestorm around this book, Katie's treatment of women. In it, she admits that she didn't help female co-stars because she wanted to, quote, protect my turf. She also gets into details about the rivalry between her and Diane Sawyer. Katie says she scrutinized Diane's interviews and couldn't get over how cool she was. So she wanted to protect her turf, but this is, again, back in the day. Things are a lot different, even though it was a short time ago. I believe things are a lot different for everyone in this atmosphere. Would you agree?
I think they're actively changing.
Good,
and there's a lot of work to do. I find this so interesting when someone is so generous with their testimony, especially because by putting this out there, people are going to cheer for her and they're also going to jeer against her, But it's interesting about the Diane Sawyer part because she talked about how cool she was. People talk about protecting their turf with the idea that there's not enough for everyone. And the truth is, she was checking for Diane, but Diane didn't seem to be checking for her.
Right.
You cannot dim a star's light. If you're trying to protect your turf in order for self-preservation, I really don't believe that's up to you. It's about the competition. It's about that season. So if you're coming for someone who isn't even bothered with you, then you're really using energy you should be kind of working on yourself with.
Which is what I do, which is what I did, and I'm learning not to do. But back in the day, if I went to an audition and there was 10 girls that looked just like me, I would eye them all down, stare them down, because back in the day, there was only going to be one spot for a woman. And I think Katie Couric in her day had one spot for a main anchor, and there was competition. Now there's more support, and also I learned from you, I learned from Sam, I learned from Lindsay. You support women. You learn to fix their crowns because you both both can be wearing crowns. You learn to lift them up in rooms when we're talking about opportunities when they're not even there. That's what you do to help women. That's what this show has taught me. But I do know the feeling of it is all or nothing, and I will fight to get that spot. Because there was like one spot. There's a ton for dudes, not a lot for women.
Yeah, I totally agree. I giggled because you're like, I respect you. I respect you. I get it. It was about women.
But the women specifically on the show, very supportive.
I just giggled a little bit because it was totally a Tory move. I'm like, I'm going to get you. All right. We've got a little music mashup for you on this Friday. Let's play some.
My left stroke just went viral. Right stroke put a baby in a spiral. You better lose yourself in the music the moment you own it. You better never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow.
They say raps change. They want to know how I feel about it.
You ain't up on pain.
Dr. Dre is the name. I'm ahead of my game.
It's the bound to the wild, creeping and crawling, Yiggy yes and Snoop Doggy Dogg in the house with the pound like every day.
Now I hope my dreams and inspiration lead me to want some real love. I'm searching for real love.
So, what do all these singers have in common? The answer is they are all, that too. And they are all performing at this year's Super Bowl halftime show. So instead of one headliner like last year, this year's performers will be, like you saw, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar. The game will take place in Inglewood, California. I almost thought the game, the musician was jumping in there when I read that. Yeah. Which is the hometown of Dr. Dre, Kendrick, and Snoop. Also the game, if you're familiar. I would watch this on pay-per-view. If they had like a little pay-per-view of all these guys, I would pay for it just to watch these guys. Halftime show, I think they're going to kill it.
Oh, I know they're going to kill it. I love this lineup. You know, we were having this conversation earlier about this music supersedes all the lines, the race lines, the gender lines, the socioeconomic lines. We were all saying the same lyrics at the same time.
So true.
You know, and it's so nostalgic, and I'm glad that they are offering a variety of artists. I think that works best for a game as big as The Big Game. I don't know if we're allowed to say what, you know.
Right.
But
Which
anyway.
is weird. Yeah, we can't say.
They're particular about what you can and cannot say with the name of that
SB.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
SB.
Why, it's so weird. I don't understand.
Yeah,
I don't
weird.
understand life. Go ahead.
we know that for sure. First of all, the 90s is back. The 90s is back in clothing and style and trend. Music-wise, this could not have been a better pick. Jay-Z and Rock Nation produced the Super Bowl halftime. I'm so much happier with this than like Adam Levine. Like, I'm sorry. I love the idea.
You don't
of
have
this
to knock somebody else down to build somebody else
Adam Levine
back
was
up.
terrible.
He was great.
He was terrible.
I thought he did a great job.
Terrible.
I think anybody that goes out there does a great job.
They
I thought
don't.
The Weeknd
Prince
was
does a
fine.
great job. I thought The Weeknd was okay, but this group will just be so much star power that it's what appointment television is like, what it used to be like. Like, oh my gosh.
And there's a great game surrounding
There
it
is.
as well. All right, so forget the Princess Cut Diamond. Tiffany Haddish wants something totally different when she gets engaged. I hope she's starting a trend here. Common hasn't popped a question to Tiffany just yet, but when he does, she wants her boyfriend to propose to her with an apartment building. Yes, that's correct. She made the comment while speaking on a podcast earlier this week. Check it out.
You know how they be like, present you with a ring? Sure. I want him to present me with the deed to a duplex or a 36-plex, you know. Present me with an apartment building.
So while there is no word about a proposal, Common said if that time does come, he would do it. He'd buy that apartment building. I am down for this. I'm down. And I know you're looking at me like that, Erica. Diamond rings are a waste of money.
You think it's all a scam, the diamond ring.
It's a monopoly, and there's a million of them out there, and they just hide them and jack up the price. I mean, it's classic.
I mean, they're also romantic and inspiring and all that.
But how would you know if it was a QZ? You wouldn't. You wouldn't.
No.
Yeah, you would.
You would.
Yeah,
You wouldn't.
That's true. That's true. I'm wearing a totally fake. No, I'm kidding. No,
You wouldn't know.
I don't know what the problem is with both. I mean, ultimately, the diamond or the ring, whether it's a diamond or not, isn't truly for the woman, although I get it's become that way. It's really a representation of the fact that you are engaged or you are getting married so that the world knows that not to come for you, basically. I don't see there being a problem for them. Like, obviously, people know that they're in this relationship, and if they got engaged, everybody would know about it. But I don't see the problem with proposing with a traditional ring of any sort and then having that generational wealth that you're building together.
I just love the idea of dowry. Do you guys know dowry? When it used to be like, if you wanted to marry a woman, the dad had to give 3 goats and some milk, like back in the day. And I like that the dowry she wants is for her. Like, that's a really cool way of saying, I want land, I want something that'll be stable. It's a great thing to want, but I'm with Erica. I would also want a ring.
Dowry.
Dowry.
Anyways, listen, I have 2 kids, I have a wife. I saved up my money. I didn't have a lot of money at the time. I saved it up to give my wife a nice ring, right? Because as a man, you're kind of judged on that. What kind of ring did you get your wife? Let me see that. Ooh, they know. Don't tell me there's no Snickers. There's Snickers, okay? I'd much rather now.
Mars bars.
And Kit Kat,
I'd much rather now. I mean, I'm not going to do this, but if you have a fake ring, no one's going to know. Take that money, give it to your kids, put it down on a house, get it an apartment. Right. It's much more. It sounds so much more adult, but it's much more better for your life experience. Erica's not buying anything I'm saying.
No, I'm saying I think they're both great, and it depends on your situation, but I believe that it's both great.
So are goats, I guess. Coming up on DBL, she has a Daytime Emmy, multiple Grammys, and an out-of-this-world donut recipe. Trisha Yearwood is showing us what she has cooking. And Kanye's support for Marilyn Manson hasn't slowed down. Erica's dishing the stories that caught her eye. And Erica, I want to talk to you about this name, What Erica's Watching. Not What's Erica Watching. That's coming up next.
Oh. Closed captioning provided by...
We're talking about a new segment, what Erica is watching, and it's going to be advice on what she's giving. And I do want to know, I'm fresh out of shows. I just watched The Sopranos forever, and I just finished it. And I know the Saints of Newark, his son, is coming back to do an earlier version. But other than that, y'all, I'm watching like metal makers make some metal, glass blowers. I need some help. So let me know what you guys are watching. Let's go around and find out. Kelly, what are you watching today? What's your show that you're on?
Oh, I've been watching Ted Lasso. I'm really into Ted Lasso. I'm a couple episodes behind, but I'm hoping to catch up this weekend.
Tiffany, what are you watching?
I'm catching up on Love Island.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, I got really deeply attached. Yeah. In a weird, sick way. It wasn't right. Kiri, are you watching any TV?
There you go. No, I'm not, but I don't know. What should I watch? I need something light and funny.
Okay, everybody says Ted Lasso, and I agree. But I really loved this last season of American Horror Story.
What? I can't. That's going to freak me out.
No, it's not. Well,
Patty.
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, but it's good.
I loved it. Loved it. So I highly recommend.
Okay.
Oh, and you know what else is really good? The Book of Canaan on Starz. It's like a Power spin-off. Yeah. If you like the Power series, which I loved. It's a spin-off, and the executive producer is 50 Cent, so it's great.
Also, you guys, if you didn't know, The Great British Bake Off is back. I know that's everyone's favorite. A lot of you watch it. New season. It's called the Baking Bubble, not the tent. It's adorable. The same hosts are back. It's just, she's like, stop talking about baking. I'm kidding. It's so good.
Is it vanilla this time?
Welcome back to DBL. I'm Erica Cobb, and I'm back to share more of my takes on stories that have caught my eye on this week's What Erica's Watching. So it appears Kanye's doubling down on his support of Marilyn Manson. He's wearing a t-shirt of the fallen rock star in a recent pic he posted with Diddy. Now, Yeezy first caught side eyes from disappointed fans, surprised that Manson was a featured guest during a Donda listening party event. Now, despite the rocker being accused of sexual assault by multiple women, it appears that Kanye is still standing beside him. I'ma stick beside him. It seems like a really terrible decision to make, Kanye. You have daughters. We need to do better. Have you heard of Me Too? What about you? Next, Jada Pinkett Smith and her daughter Willow are sporting their new bald looks on Red Table Talk. But that's not what has people talking. Jada and Willow both considered getting Brazilian butt lifts to enhance their curves. But instead, they decided to do it the old-fashioned way. Take a look.
You want a butt? One thing your mother know how to do is build a butt.
Exactly.
And you built it.
But I really...
To the point that people thought you got surgery.
No, you're right.
I just feel like there's always been so much more pressure on women to look a certain way.
Yas build that butt the old-fashioned way. Besides, we already have 3 BBLs on the Red Table Talk set because y'all are bold, beautiful ladies. I'm glad you're having this conversation, though, because no one should be dying for something they sit on. Now, the Fugees reunion is off to a great start. They recently performed at the Global Citizen Live concert and are planning a tour to celebrate the group's 25th anniversary. Now, here's what is coming as a surprise to many. Group member Praz told Billboard that Miss Lauryn Hill herself actually initiated this reunion.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. Let's go, y'all. I'm gonna find you and make hands up in the air.
Now, before y'all come for my girl Lauryn Hill about her timeliness or lack thereof, I mean, she may be 2, 4, 7, 24 hours late, but I went to Red Rocks and saw her not that long ago. She was late, but it was worth the wait. Well, I'll keep an eye out for more, and you can also share with me anything that you think is worth watching by using the hashtag DBLEricaWatch. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
According to the CDC, influenza, also known as the flu, never quite goes away, but peak flu season varies each year, typically ramping up in October and reaching a fever pitch between December and February. So is October the best time to get your flu shot? Let's verify. Our sources, Dr. Charles Brugier with Novant Health and the CDC. According to the CDC, the flu peak varies from year to year, but they suggest people get vaccinated by the end of October. Dr. Charles Brugier agrees it's the best time to get the flu shot.
I think there's some reasoning behind saying that October probably is the best month to get the flu vaccine. And that is because the immunity we get from the flu vaccine typically lasts about 6 months.
Dr. Brugier says a dose of flu vaccine delivered in October would give you protection through March.
It often peaks in January, February. We've had some years, though, where it's peaked in March, and some years it's peaked as early as November.
With COVID-19 boosters now available for some people, Dr. Brugier says it's safe to get both together.
Love that song, Cannot Sing. Welcome back to DBL. That's a new version of Trisha Yearwood's first single, She's in Love with a Boy. She broke into the country music biz 30 years ago with that song. Now she's cooking up new tunes and comfort food. In fact, one of her recipes is live on our website right now, so check it out. But first, check out our interview with Trisha, who we spoke to earlier in today's Chatting with the Stars.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're doing well. We're really excited to look at what you're cooking up. So you're going to show us how to make your Galaxy Donut glaze while we chat. So show us what Galaxy Donuts look like. What are the ingredients for your galactic glaze? Just the name alone makes me want to try it.
Well, first of all, you can make a homemade donut, but I've made it very easy, and there's no judgment if you buy store-bought plain donuts, which is what we have today.
Okay, good.
And this is just a simple glaze. And glaze always has powdered sugar in it. It's a rule. It's a law. And this is powdered sugar, and then it's liquid coconut oil, which is going to help make it smooth, and also it'll help it set better, so it won't be gooey for a long time. And then just a little bit of vanilla extract, and then food coloring. And I chose galactic colors, so I've got purples and reds and blacks here that are kind of swirled together. You can do it with a toothpick or like a coffee stirring stick. That's what's going to give you this really pretty effect. So you just take your donut, and you just dip the top in, just kind of press it down, and then pull it out, and then just let it sort of swirl.
Ooh.
And as it swirls, it's going to give you this kind of crazy, out of this world little tie-dye effect. And then you can take, there's a really great edible glitter now. Do not buy glitter at the craft store. I don't want to get letters. That's not edible. This is edible. But there's really good edible glitter. Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot of galactic mess going on there.
Garth, does he help you in the kitchen?
He's kind of a kid. He does help me in the kitchen. He's the whatever it takes guy. So he can, if I say like I don't want to cook tonight, you can cook. He'll take it. He also will help anything that I need. He's really good at loading the dishwasher. All that stuff.
First of all, you look great, and we're so happy that you're here today. We know that you had COVID, and Garth was there to take care of you. How difficult was it for you to quarantine away from him? Because I know a lot of people have been experiencing this.
It wasn't difficult at all because he would not leave me alone. He did not get COVID, and I kept saying, "You cannot be near me. I cannot give Garth Brooks COVID." But he never got it, and then luckily we both are now fully vaccinated and doing our part. So I'm just lucky. It was a mild case.
Well, Trisha, it's been 30 years since you released She's in Love with the Boy, and it went #1 on the Billboard chart. So what do you miss about the 90s?
Oh my God, there's so much.
Well, it's really strange you say that because I didn't really miss the 90s, but now they're really back.
Yeah.
So like I don't miss the big hair, although it's kind of coming back. And I didn't miss acid wash until I kept saying, no, I'm not doing it. I did it in the 90s. I'm not doing it. And then somebody brought me this cute little jacket, and I'm like, I'm not gonna have acid wash. And now I own it, and I love it. And it's my favorite.
It's back?
Oh, 90s is back.
Oh, yeah.
Hard.
I'm stuck in the 90s. You know that. I wear banties and acid wash, and I'm definitely
I don't even know what a banty is.
A band.
A band.
Lip liner. Lip liner was good.
Right. A choker.
Yes.
Am I right? A choker.
Yes, Trisha. You speak my language. Yep. Trisha, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you. Pick up her new cookbook, Trisha's Kitchen, easy comfort food for friends and family, where all books are sold. We'll be right back. Thanks, Trisha.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
on social media claim anyone who receives more than $600 in transactions from cash apps like Venmo and PayPal will face a new tax. Now people are concerned that rent payments and dinner reimbursements sent through the apps will also be taxed. Verified viewer Tina asked, next year will I be sent a 1099 for using money apps like Venmo and Zelle after $600 worth of money has been sent to me? So is that true? Let's verify. Our sources are Steve Rosenthal, a senior fellow at the Tax Policy Center at the Urban Institute, David Super, a tax law professor at Georgetown University, and the American Rescue Act of 2021. Let's start with the current law. Individuals owe taxes on any income earned over $600, including if you're paid via app. Since 2008, cash apps have been required to send 1099-K forms to customers who use the apps to receive income more than $20,000 and have 200 transactions or more in a calendar year. But Steve Rosenthal says lawmakers thought that threshold was too high to successfully capture all reportable income that would help close the tax gap.
Relatively few 1099-Ks were sent out. But next year, the threshold is going to be much lower.
So what changes on January 1st, 2022? Well, that's when the threshold drops to $600 and there's no transaction minimum.
Now there are going to be many more 1099-Ks reported. That does not mean just because you receive an information report that you have taxable income.
If you receive more than $600 from a friend or family member as a gift or reimbursement, like shared utilities or travel costs, Rosenthal says you may receive a 1099-K form from the app, but you won't have to report the transaction to the IRS as an earning. According to David Super, a tax law professor at Georgetown University, quote, "This proposal does not change what is taxable or what is deductible. It merely seeks to achieve more honest reporting about what income is received and what deductible expenses are made," unquote. So we can verify this claim as true. You likely will receive a 1099-K from a money app if you receive more than $600 on the app in a year, but that doesn't mean you owe more taxes. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
Back to DBL. Intermittent fasting is not only linked to weight loss. Experts say that with exercise, it can help prevent and manage chronic diseases. We're chatting about it on DBL Focus on Fitness presented by QB. So consider limiting your meals to an 8 to 10 hour window. This not only supports weight management, it can also improve sleep and cut your risk of diabetes and heart disease. Also, the time of day you eat is just as important as what you eat, and the benefits increase when you stick to a daily fitness routine. Staying active is so important, and QB has made it easy regardless of physical ability or age. Try their under-desk elliptical at home. Call 1-800-782-2351 or visit QB.com to learn more. Working out's fun.
Sorry. You intermittent fast, don't you?
I sure do.
Thank God it's Friday. All right, bye, y'all.
Good weekend, everybody. Come back if you want, or not. Whatever you want.
Bye.